Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. We finally got some new Detour Noirs. That's right. Haramain got the memo. They came out with the original Detour Noir in 2021, which quickly became, in my opinion, their most popular best buy out there because it was a clone of Parfums de Marly Layton that came out at a time that there really weren't any good, cheap alternatives to Layton, and it just crushed it. Like everybody wanted it. Detour Noir was basically as popular as like Camera, you know? It was like one of the go-to clone fragrances out there. And for like 3 years, Haramain was basically like, that's good. That's good. We don't need anything else. That's okay. That is, until now. And now they've come out with 3 new ones. We're gonna be talking about one of those here today. The fragrance on the docket is Haramain Detour Noir Exclusif. Take a look at that. Whatever could this be? Now I'll have this one linked in the description below in case you wanna check it out. It's down there. So I'm gonna be taking a look at the presentation of this one with you here today, going over the fragrance, how it smells, and whether or not this is worth a pickup. Whether it is as good or maybe better, possibly worse, than the original Detour Noir. So this one is available at fragrancebuy.ca. That's where I picked my bottle up from. I actually got all 3 of the new Detour fragrances that they put up there. But this is the first one that I opened up, so I figured that's the first one that we'll talk about. As of this video, about 32 bucks US. Now that's gonna fluctuate depending on the exchange rate between Canadian and US dollars if you shop at Fragrance Buy. Of course, Fragrance Buy is based in Canada, but they ship to the US. It's also on fragflex.com. If you shop at Fragflex, use the code GS11 for 11% off your entire order. So yeah, about 32 bucks here. I think that the original Detour Noir on Fragrance Buy is like 27, so this is roughly $5 whole more. I know, it's just like so expensive, $5. What do you say we go ahead and take a gander at this presentation? Let's do it. So here we have the front of the box. You have the name of the fragrance, name of the house, size and concentration. It's an eau de parfum 100 ml size. And they have stepped up the box a little bit. It looks a lot nicer than the original did, at least to memory, at least to my memory. On top, it says Haramain. On the side, it says Detour, and the back is the same as the front here. Then on the bottom, you have your badge code, your ingredient information, and your barcode. And here is the bottle. It's that typical Detour Noir bottle shape. Little love it or hate it, I guess. Little interesting looking, little curve there. Does fit nicely into the palm of the hand. And I will say, I think this one looks better than the original as well. It has that finish, that kind of matte finish that has a nice look to it. You have a blue coloration on the top of the cap there. On the bottom, it just says Haramain. And one other thing that they improved is the atomizer. So let's go ahead and share a couple sprays. You'll see what I'm talking about here. Ooh, it's pressurized now. So that is quite nice. Because one thing with some clone fragrances is the atomizer will just feel horrible, just super janky, just it's kind of gross. You know, you spray it and it's like all the way down, very unsmooth, and the distribution is trash, frankly. But that one, really nice. So I'm sure you already know by the title of the video, the thumbnail, also the look of the presentation, the name, what this is a clone of. But in case somehow you missed all of that, it is a clone of Parfums de Marly Layton Exclusif. Yes, yeah, Detour Noir is Layton. Detour Noir Exclusif is Layton Exclusif. It was right there all along, right in front of my face. I just didn't see it. Now, Laton Exclusive, in case you are late to the party on that one, is basically Layton with a twist. It is Layton made a little bit deeper and more animalic. So for some people, that makes it more interesting because it gives it a different facet, a different, balance point to the sweet spices that are the focal point of Layton. And one of the best things about Laton Exclusive is even though it makes things a bit richer, a bit bolder, again, a little more animalic, very slightly more challenging, it still is really easy to wear. It's not a difficult to pull off fragrance. They still kept that versatility, wearability, complement factor in mind when creating this one. So I guess the question then is Haramain able to capture enough of Laton Exclusive and a sub $35 fragrance to make it worthwhile. Because Laton Exclusive at retail is $345 for a 75 ml size bottle. This is the size that it launched in. You can get a 125 ml size bottle nowadays though, and that will set you back $430. Yeah, 75, 125, this splits the difference, 100 mils. So you can't directly compare it to, you know, either of the sizes that PDM comes in, but you can see that it's basically 10%, a little under 10% the cost of what Laton Exclusive is at full retail. Now, of course, you can find this at discounters sometimes for a little bit less, but not astronomically less, because when it's astronomically less, it sells out. Okay, to the fragrances. There is a difference between the two. This is not an exact replica of Laton Exclusive, so if you were hoping this is literally the exact same, it's not. The main difference is going to be that Laton Exclusive is still a bit more animalic than Detour Noir Exclusive, which probably makes sense when you think about it. Those ingredients in Laton Exclusive that give it that little edge, that tiny little bit of a funky edge, you know, the oud that's in here, the civet note that's in here, that doesn't carry over quite so much as in Detour Noir Exclusive. So that's gonna be the main difference. Instead, with Detour Noir Exclusive, you get a touch more of the fruitiness, actually. So that little fruity pop in the opening, that comes across a little more clearly in Detour Noir Exclusive, and it actually lingers a little bit longer. So whereas with Laton Exclusive, once you head through the mid, the woodiness starts to come out a bit more. Again, a little bit of that edge to it. Detour Noir Exclusive leans more toward like a sweeter take on that style of fragrance. Now, when I say sweeter, don't think like, you know, bubblegum overload, don't think sugary, syrupy sweet. No, I'm not talking about like that type of sweetness, not that level. It's just a little bit fresher, less of like an almost smokiness that you get through Laton Exclusive. You don't get that really through Detour Noir Exclusive. So yeah, just a little bit cleaner, a little bit fresher, and leaning maybe a slight bit more on the fruit initially, and then a little bit more on the vanilla as it dries, compared to Laton Exclusive. What I will say is if you're not wearing these side by side and you just spray this on, oh God, it's fantastic. It smells great. This is the first Detour that I opened of the new ones that I bought, and I can tell you when I sprayed it on, I wasn't doing a side-by-side comparison or anything, but when I sprayed that on, I was like, oh, they crushed it. The opening smells great, the mid, fantastic, the dry down, fantastic. Big compliment puller, just like Laton or Laton Exclusive. But when you spray them on side-by-side, you will see differences. This is not a thing where side-by-side, you're gonna be like, oh, they're about the same. No, you'll be like, oh. Yeah. Off a tester strip, the first time that I sprayed Detour Noir Exclusive on, it did smell cheaper side by side than Laton Exclusive. It had more sharpness to the citrus in there. But then as it dries down, off a strip, these are both just stupid close. Like really, truly, absurdly close when you let them dry down on the tester strip. When you go in, it's like to the point that there's no point in trying to point out the minutia of differences. Because if you're doing that, you're really just grasping at straws. I could tell you like, oh, well, you know, this one is very lightly different in this tiny little way that literally matters to absolutely nobody that you will ever meet in your entire life, but what's the point of that? Off a tester strip, in the opening, these two are a little different in the sense that the citrus off Detour Noir Exclusive comes across a little bit sharper, not quite as smooth as Laton Exclusive, but as it dries down, it's the same. It's really, really, really close. Now, of course, that's a tester strip, so what does that matter? Well, it really doesn't for a lot of people, but if you do test these on a strip only, then you may think, oh, they're the same, exactly the same. But when you wear them on skin, that is where some of those differences come out a little bit. I will say though, if you spray this on your clothes, at that point, would it come across like it does on the strip? And if that's the case, does it just smell the same as Laton Exclusive off my clothes? I don't know. I haven't tested that, but off these, really, really, really close once you get out of that initial opening. Okay, enough of that. Back to just how the fragrance smells if you wear it normally on your skin. As I pointed out, a couple differences between this and Laton Exclusive and how some notes are balanced a little bit differently in this one versus in this one. But I will tell you, quality-wise, Detour Noir Exclusive to me is better than Detour Noir. From top to bottom, it smells overall like a better put together fragrance. The quality is actually surprisingly just for $32.
You gotta give me a pressurized atomizer too, let's go!
Only thing that could be better, magnetic cap. Honestly though, for me, this pretty much just about makes Detour Noir irrelevant. It's $5 more, the quality is better, the atomizer is better, the presentation is better, from top to bottom, it's better. Oh, and by the way, the performance, it's better. Off my skin, Detour Noir Exclusive lasts a long, long time. Am I gonna say better than Laton Exclusive? No, I'm not. But will this let you down? Oh, no, it won't. Last a very long time. The performance, fantastic for a $32 fragrance. Really nice projection off this one. You get great controlled distribution with that atomizer as well. Huge compliment pulling type of fragrance because again, it's jobbing Laton here, right? So, you know, if this works well for you, this is gonna work well for you also. And in actuality, this one almost kind of sits like between the Laton and Laton Exclusive a little bit, if that makes sense. Because it's not quite exactly Laton, but then it's not exactly this one either, because this one is a little bit more animalic, a little bit more funk to it than Noir Exclusive. So this actually sits kind of in between those two. It smells awesome. It just smells freaking great. Look, Laton smells amazing. To me, it's one of my faves. And this does such a good job at being the same thing that it's like just really, really, really top-notch stuff. So there it is, Detour Noir Exclusive. It's better to me than the original Detour Noir. It is a little more expensive, but not that much. $5 is kind of whatever. If it were $30 more, different conversation, right? But $5? Oh, one other thing that I did not point out that I forgot about, it's not a big deal, but I noticed with all the new Detour fragrances that I got in, that when they're in transit, that the front of the bottle gets rubbed a little bit. So depending on how much yours gets rubbed, like these letters right here on the front, they might get a little scuffed, something like that. That's a negative. I want to point that out. It's a big negative. Oh, Jesus. Can't believe it. The F is rubbed a little bit. This is a 1 out of 10 garbage fragrance. All right, guys, that'll do it for me. Haramain Detour Noir Exclusive. This is top-notch stuff. Came out a bit late, you know, 3 years after the fact from the first one, but it's good at least. Really, really, really good. The other ones I got in are Eco, which you can look at the color of that and probably know what that is, like gold and green, and then Noir Intense. So I'll do a video on those here in the near future also. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.